Yashala, Yahweh, 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 Chud, Shema, Yashala, Yahweh, Yahweh, Chud, Shema, Yashala, Yahweh, Chud.
Shalom Akyam. Hey, we would like to start out by giving our honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rakakudash. I want to give double honors to our apostles, great millstone, Ruel, and peace and blessing to the house of David the elect. Azahab to my left, and to my far left. All right, we're just going to get straight into it, man. Let the scripture speak. All right, this is a live stream. All right, basically going into, overcoming Babylon is to overcome the flesh, and vice versa. Overcoming your flesh equates to overcoming Babylon, man. All right, because there's always been a war. And before we get that opening scripture, can you get this Sirach 33, 2 and 2 are set against each other?
Okay, cool.
All right, because if you notice, there has always been a war. And they even made an example of that on the movie Small Soldiers. They had the Gorgonites and the Commandos, which represent good and evil, which represented what? Jacob and Esau. But even on a spiritual level, there's a war between the spirit and the flesh. Yep. And Babylon is a macrocosm of the flesh. All right, Babylon is a personification or an embodiment of the flesh and everything your flesh desires, man. All right, but there's a war against your mission. That's an impediment to your mission. Your mission requires you to what? Be in the spirit. So you can open up with Sirach 33.
On this book of Sirach, chapter 33, verse 14, it says, good is set against evil and life against death.
And the elect in Babylon, that represents good is set against evil. Our mission, all right, summoned by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, doing this in Babylon represents good going against evil. And look how evil is putting us on a platform saying that we're a hate group. Because there's a constant war of good against evil. But even within us, all right, there's a war. Good set against evil. All right?
And it says, so is the godly against the sinner and the sinner against the godly.
The elect of Israel represents the godly. All right, and elsewhere the elite, the elites, Esau, even 2/3 of our people represents the sinner. All right, but in order to fight that war against them, we have to fight this war within us, and we have to conquer. We have to conquer that sinner within us, man, because that's overcoming Babylon. That's self-control, self-discipline. That's overcoming the lady in the red dress. All right.
Verse 15 says, so look upon all the works of the Most High, and there are 2 and 2, one against another.
The very mission that we're on exemplifies the 2 and 2 going against each other. All right, it's really the elect versus the Amalekites. All right, it represents good against evil, man. All right, you have something?
It's I got 2 for you.
Okay, come.
And before I read it, I just want to land back what you said. I listened to this podcast called Coast to Coast. And they had a guest on there who was basically speaking about, theology and angels and demons. But, the person made a point. They said how these demons that attack your flesh, they can't get you unless you put yourself in a position where you're on their frequency. You got to basically lower your frequency in order to make yourself susceptible.
Can I be honest? You ever was about to watch something flesh oriented on the internet and somebody call you? And it's like the Most High delivering you out that situation. And you understand, well, if it's not a sin, why does the Most High want me to do it? And what you said just makes sense. Demons want you on a demonic wavelength. Because when you're in that demonic wavelength, you're going to attract filth. That's how you have a filthy house. Now you start attracting roaches and gnats and different type of bugs. Well, guess what? Your body is a house, is it not? All right, so go ahead.
Come on, bro. Real quick, this is Romans chapter 7 and verse 14. Now it says, for we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin.
Now this goes back to the angels that fell from heaven and went into those chains of darkness. All right, it goes back to the chains of darkness, and this earthly tabernacle represents those chains of darkness, because the nature of your flesh, is to basically be on an animal wavelength. It's to self-destruct. But it's easier said than done because it feels good to please your flesh.
Yeah, the flesh, has no the flesh has no filter.
Yep.
The flesh has no discernment. Hey, the flesh will have you You know, soon as her husband leave out the front door, you coming in the back.
Mm-hmm.
All discernment is gone. Like when the flesh kick in, your decision making is through.
Mm-hmm.
Your decision making leave. You know, your flesh just want that end game. You know, whatever it might be. You see? So if you in the flesh, that destroys your decision making. Like people, like you had Jake, the brother Yakanan in Memphis. He said it was a Jake told him, you know, he went and got the jab, and he told Yakanan he don't even know why he got it. You see? But that's the flesh. You see?
Yep.
The flesh want the flesh know that we need this jab, nigga.
Keep pleasing.
You know, you can't stop the party. Go get the jab. But like the lesson is going into, man, the flesh, all right, destroys decision making, man. You see?
And if you losing the war within, you're gonna lose the war without.
Yep.
Because as you're gonna go into through the spirit, I be willing, we're overcoming this beast. We're overcoming Babylon. But in order to overcome the beast without, you have to overcome the beast within, man. All right.
All right. Now, jump down to verse 18. For I know that in me, that is in my flesh, dwelleth no good thing.
And I heard Elder Apostle Gabar speak on this to a particular brother, because some things you're gonna struggle with. Going back to 2 Corinthians, the 12th chapter, about the thorn in the flesh. And you're gonna have to learn how to keep it moving, even if you do fall and you feel bad and you feel conquered by it. You lost that battle in the flesh that day. All right? Go ahead. Because he said, I know that within me that is in my flesh dwelleth no good thing. All right? Hey, there's a scripture, there's a saying, Salak, there's a saying, as I said, a Japanese proverb, the art of war. Know thy enemy and know thyself.
Yeah. And
thou shalt fare never the worst. Hey, knowing your enemy is to know your flesh. You have to know the nature of yourself.
Knowing your weaknesses.
Knowing your weaknesses. Am I somebody that could be by myself all day? Or do I know that when I get by myself, I'm going to start going into a deviant state of mind? So it's best for me to leave the house, go in nature. All right? Am I somebody that once I step out and get a drink or two, that drink or two turns into a drink of 3, a drink of 4, a drink of 5?
Yeah, it's crazy. One of those so-called red pill guys, he was talking to AMS, Alpha Male Strategies, and basically he was saying, you know, certain men shouldn't be in a relationship because he said they haven't even mastered themselves. He said you got to really master yourself before you put yourself in a situation to be with somebody, because then you got to master them. How you gonna master them? You ain't master yourself yet.
And it's heavy. That goes into the bishop. Nobody has all the rules of a bishop, because if you can't conquer yourself, how you gonna be the head of a household?
Yeah.
All right,
Head of a church.
head of a church, right? And if you can't, because if you can't be head of a household, how you gonna be head of a church? But it all starts with conquering your damn self, man.
Yeah.
All right.
For to will is present with me.
Yeah, you want to get up and read. You want to watch the videos. And I can tell you more than anybody else, the will is always there. But you gotta push yourself. It's another level, man. All right.
But how to perform that which is good.
You know what's crazy is you gotta push yourself to read. You gotta make yourself watch the video sometimes, but you never gotta make yourself please your flesh.
No, it's on auto.
It's on auto.
But that's where the discipline come in. At. You know, that's what discipline is. It ain't, just about doing the same thing on the same schedule every day.
Yep.
It's about on those days when you don't want to do it. All right, when you just don't want to do it. You pouting, and you gotta push through you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you gotta push through you and get it done, man. You know, but like I said, the flesh is on automatic. You know, the flesh doesn't need to get hyped up. You know, the flesh on deck. You see, but see, the spirit gotta be provoked. You know, and it's through discipline. You know,
And it has to be cultivated.
Yep.
Cultivate.
You know, being born again in this truth, you gotta know how to feed your spirit every day, because that's the only way it's gonna grow. You know.
Now it says, but how to perform that which is good, I find not. Now I'm gonna jump down to verse 22. For I delight in the law of the Most High after the inward man.
Your inward man is your spirit, because your inward man is a spirit that's a descendant of Yahweh Shema Shai. It's a direct offspring of the Heavenly Father, but it's confined to these chains of darkness that we call the flesh. You know,
hey, because the inward man, going into after the law, the inward man, that spirit wants to live perfectly according to the law.
Mhm.
Hey, it's the flesh that try to justify wickedness. You know, say she got a man, but they on bad terms.
Yup.
It's,
You see,
she in a position. It's complicated.
Yeah, she telling you her story, so you trying to justify. Well, he is going off. You trying to find a loophole. See, the flesh try to find loopholes, man, to please itself through the law.
And that's how you know it's spiritual, because why are you more impelled to talk to this woman that has a man than the actual single woman that's looking at you?
Yeah.
That's how you know that the flesh was designed to go against the laws of the Most High. And that's the war within.
Yeah, the earthly tabernacle is basically like a demon.
Yep.
You know that you got to fight constantly.
Yep.
I'm gonna finish it off with you, bro.
Mhm.
Get the other one I wanted.
Okay,
To
come on.
get for you. That says, let's see. But I see another law in my members, warring against the law of my mind and bringing me into captivity.
And the law of my members work against the law of my mind, because the law of your mind that's where the laws are, man. The laws of your mind, that's the laws.
I'm gonna finish off. You can
All right, but the laws of your member, or the nature of your members, they're contrary to the laws. As a matter of fact, can you hold that right quick, guys? And get Colossians 4, where it says the writings are written contrary to us.
Okay.
Like the 4th chapter. And you could go into your Elder Priso, Elder Kazak.
Okay, yo, since brother getting that, I'll go ahead. All right, Galatians chapter 5, verse 16. This I say then, walk in the spirit, and you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh.
It says walk in the spirit, and you should not fulfill the lust of the flesh, because there's an analogy. All right, and the analogy goes into two wolves are fighting against each other, and one wolf represents the flesh, and another wolf represents the spirit. But though you actually determine which wolf gonna win based on which wolf that you feed the most. So you feed the fleshly wolf the most, then that means that fleshly wolf is gonna dominate the spiritual wolf. But if you feed the spiritual wolf spiritual food the most, then it's gonna dominate that fleshly spirit, man. I mean that fleshly nature.
All right, Galatians 6 and 8. And I'm gonna jump back. Now it says, for he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption.
What's the end result of being a nigga? Death. Because basically a nigga is somebody that nigga culture is you justifying your flesh, man. You pleasing your flesh. And the end result, and that's the other thing. In order to know the nature of your flesh, you gotta know the end result of that nature. The end result of pleasing your damn self is you probably dying, literally dying.
Self-destruction.
Yep. What do you think a fiend is? Doesn't a fiend go back to like a demon or addict? But a fiend is somebody that has zero control over their own spirit, man, over their own flesh, man. All right.
For he that soweth to the flesh, to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption. Like you said, you feed it.
Mm-hmm.
But he that soweth to the spirit shall of the spirit reap life everlasting.
Yeah, so because the end result is you make it into the kingdom, man. See, and the flesh doesn't just mean you horny. Or the flesh can literally be on a figurative sense. You have a part of the flesh as you having desires in this world.
Yeah.
You having excessive desires in this world to be somebody, because your flesh is where you get your ego from.
Want to be on the scene.
Yeah, want to be on the scene.
You got Jake, they outgoing, but they want to be caught up in this world, man. So, they want to go out all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But they love that worldly spirit, being out here around Jake, being around Eve.
Yep.
Especially, let's say you winning.
Mm-hmm.
You pulling all the women you want. You a likable guy.
Yep.
But hey, you got it, bro.
The word fiend, all right, goes to this is on Google, and it said the word fiend, like you got dope fiend, FIEND. It says an evil spirit or a demon.
Wow.
Hey, so when you see homeless people and a lot of them be drug addicts, they're literally demon possessed.
Sex fiend.
Sex fiend.
So you say you addicted to dope? It's a dope demon.
Hey, but you know what? Just to back this up, you get attacked by those demons. You get attacked by those fiends, so to speak, because you have demons, all right, that put all type of sexual perversions in your head while you sleep.
Yep.
Or you have demons that touch on you while you sleep, man.
Yeah, because just to give an example, I'm gonna be vulgar for a minute, because we grew up in Babylon anyway. A lot of us was addicted to watching shit on the internet. So let's say if you was addicted to watching those images or or those videos, what those demons or those fiends do, they'll put images in your mind as you sleep to draw you back to their lifestyle, man.
And another thing they do too, just to add, you might have been watching so-called normal stuff on the internet, but those demons will put the twisted stuff in your head.
Yep.
Because they want you to go to the dark side of that shit. I mean, it's already dark in itself, but you have a large wave of guys that's so-called heterosexual that watch trannies over the internet, man. But you have a large wave of guys that have an interest in trannies, but where did they get that from, man? That seed that was planted when they was 10, when they were 13. But it's a spirit working with that stuff. It's a spirit working with the lack of self-control.
Yeah.
They got this show, My 600 Pound.
Yeah, My 600 Pound Life.
My 600 Pound Life. They got a demon on them, man. That's a demon.
So it's a food fiend.
It's a food fiend because processed food is made to be like a drug. Because what do you do with cocaine? You refine it and you concentrate it to make it crack. And that's why crack is highly addictive. Because you just took the coca leaf and made it to cocaine. Then you refined that cocaine and made it crack. But what did you do with high fructose corn syrup? You took that fructose and you refined it. Because the natural fruit or natural foods give out fructose. The fruit goes back to the Latin fructose, which means enjoyable. But you take that one element and you refine it. Now your dopamine is getting released. Overly released off of you demonizing food, man.
Now you eat a regular banana, you don't want it.
You don't taste it. What happens with the internet? You do that stuff so heavily, you're not even stimulated off a woman, really.
Yeah, Jay suffering from erectile dysfunction.
At 26,
because we've been overstimulated.
you've been Hey, there's a result from we're in quarantine. When you come into this knowledge, the Most High is quarantining you from Babylon. Like, bro, you gotta detox. You gotta heal. No, it's stuff you gotta let go so your spirit can be, dealt with.
And just the land back is a coin. That's proof that these other Israelite groups are off.
Yep.
We don't call a spade, man, because here it is. Jake has to unplug from that stuff.
You gotta unplug.
Like you said, spiritually quarantined, but y'all opening doors up. It's okay for you to, do the Passover in the club.
Yep.
It's okay for you to, do the work of the Lord this way.
Yep.
It's okay. Here it is. We telling Jake not to take a jab. It's okay for you to, be out there on the street. You got the mask on and you got the damn immunization bracelet.
Because the end goal is you never overcame your flesh because you don't plan on overcoming Babylon. What you got it, brother?
So I just want to get that all y'all was saying remind me of that Greek god Dionysus. It said Dionysus was an ancient Greek god of wine making, grape cultivation, fertility, and ritual madness, theater, and religious ecstasy. His Roman name was Bacchus. Was Bacchus.
Hey, so that's that club demon. When you think about it, that's why Jake's so addicted to that shit, man.
Mm-hmm. So they really making sacrifices to Bacchus when they go out. Mm-hmm. And they showed that sacrifice to Bacchus in Maccabees. Was the second Maccabees?
Well, the club got the bar.
Yeah.
And then second Maccabees 6.
Then
I think like 6 and 6. And then 6 chapters. But like that energy, then that late night. And then your body let you know the next day you weren't supposed to be out there late.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you feel it kick in.
Yeah, it kick in like that party shit. Cause like I think it's a time from like 10 to 2 when your body starts healing itself, and if you miss that window, you miss that night of your body healing itself. That's why you be through the next day, man.
And that scripture in Colossians
2:14.
You got it.
Yep, you want to bring that up?
Yeah, actually.
And I found the one in Second Maccabees after yours.
Okay,
Fine.
Yeah.
This is Colossians 2:14. It says, blotting out the handwriting of ordinances that was against us, which was contrary to us.
Yeah, Yahweh blotted out the handwriting of ordinances which was against us, which was contrary to us. Yep. Going back to Romans 7. All right, how the laws of his members was contrary to the laws of his mind. Yeah. The Most High designed this that way.
Yeah, it's not built in this flesh.
Yeah, this flesh is designed to be against the laws, statutes, and commandments. That's why people of the flesh, they love sinners. Mm-hmm. Women love an armful of tats. Jake love lobster, shrimp. All right?
Dope boys.
Yeah. Adultery is the shit right now.
Shit's a sport.
Willow, the two boys.
I saw that shit too.
You had brought it out.
Yeah.
Polyamorous.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, she
Yeah,
basically
more than one man.
the new age way of saying a whore.
Yep. I think what's his name? Sawadi, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, sweetie. Yeah.
You know, she made that, popping. Two men, one woman, man. But that goes back to that Bacchus,
Yep.
lifestyle, because it said with ritual madness.
Yeah.
Beasting.
Yeah, because a woman getting a train ran on it, that goes back to a ritual to different idols, man.
Yeah. A lot of, hey man, to be honest, the majority of our women are temple harlots.
Mm-hmm.
It's messed up, but it's the truth.
Uh-huh.
But there's some more that, bro.
Let him finish this. It says, which was contrary to us, and he took it out of the way, nailing it to his cross.
Right, because in our homeland Jerusalem, before Yahushua, if we committed a transgression, we had to sacrifice a sacrificial animal. But Yahushua became that sacrificial animal.
Yeah, and that's a cut on the Christians though, because you can't say, because you be hearing them say that, or it's nailed to the cross, basically making it seem like you can eat what you want to eat, do what you want to do. Hey, no, the Apostle Paul said, shall we continue in sin that grace may abound?
God forbid.
God forbid. So you're not supposed to. He died for us because we couldn't keep it perfectly, but for us to fight to keep it perfectly.
Yeah. He shows a way to overcome.
Yeah.
That's what Yahushua life meant, was overcoming. And what we did fall short, that's where his blood kicked in.
Mm-hmm.
But not for us to live according, to our flesh and to our emotions. No. We were supposed to strive to be conformed unto him. And he overcame Rome. Like Yahushua, Rome was at its peak. When you go into the time period when Rome, was on the scene, because I was reading it earlier, when Yahushua, during the time when Yahushua ministry, talked about how Rome roadway was advanced. Like they had like interstates.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had roadways that go to interstates, and it was these broad interstates that you can go on, and it was like luxury vehicle. They had like Uber back then, like it was luxury carriages that would take you to to the provinces of Rome.
Nothing new under the sun.
So when Yahushua said that, broad is a way that leads to destruction. He was taking the shot at Rome. He said, because you had little narrow paths where people still can walk on feet. They were for like the more lower class. But the upper echelon would ride on those big wide highways on those luxury carriages.
Damn, bro.
That's why Yahushua say narrow is the way and few to be defined. Talking about a lifestyle, man, because
and it's proven that this thing is for the poor, for the meek.
Yeah.
But going back to this right here, is that on there, bro?
Yeah, that was it.
All right, the second Maccabees, chapter 6, and verse 7. And in the day of the king's birth, every month they were brought by bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices. And when the feast of Bacchus was kept, the Jews were compelled to go in procession to Bacchus carrying ivy.
And you got certain clubs that actually have different statutes of Bacchus. You go to a strip club or a certain club, they got those certain statues because they know what they're embracing. Esau know what he's embracing.
Yeah, because they was pushing it heavy down in New Orleans, but now you see it everywhere.
Yep.
That Mardi Gras spirit.
Yep.
That's heavy. The Essence Festival.
Yeah.
It's a madhouse down there, man. Oh, I had another one.
Okay, come.
Yep, this is Matthew chapter 26. All right, this is the book of Matthew chapter 26 and verse 40. It says, and he cometh unto the disciples and findeth them asleep, and saith unto Peter, what, could ye not watch with me 1 hour? It says, verse 41, it says, watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak.
Hey, this setup in Babylon, this is a test for the elect.
That's it.
It's a test, man. It's a war. It's like we're in Vietnam. But instead of Esau hitting us with bullets, he's hitting us with temptations. Because the moment you get overcome in the flesh, you're a casualty of this war.
Them apps, goddamn.
Mm-hmm.
App, goddamn.
Yep, because you got brothers that they unfortunately went back into the world because they were conquered by their flesh.
Yep. Everything's so convenient.
Yep.
Like I said, you can scroll, your thumb can
Yeah,
scroll up and
thumb.
down and
Yup.
just fleshly things. You can make an album on your phone.
A whole album.
You can get caught up. Ain't nothing wrong with using the word, but you can get too caught up in investing in stocks and trying to keep up with what's what. It's just so everything right here within this, because this phone is really like an altar into Satan. You see, but it's spiritually we turn it into an altar of righteousness, man.
Yeah, I would say the world is at your fingertips.
Yep.
So it can be used for positive or negative, man.
And then Satan. Something I've learned in this observation, Satan won't show time in your energy. Your energy is very important. It takes energy to focus.
That's a sacrifice.
It's a sacrifice. And your time and your energy, and then your time is a non-renewable resource. Time is a non-renewable resource. So every day that you spend embracing the flesh, giving your time over to the flesh, you're spending money that you can't get back. And your energy is a so-called God-given resource that he gives you every day. But what are you giving your energy to, man? Because energy is a currency. That's why they say you pay attention.
Yep.
Energy is a currency. So what are you expending your energy on every day?
Bro.
I had a quick precept. Will you hold us up?
Yeah, I mean, you go ahead, bro.
Because in Romans 7, it kept going into the members.
Mm-hmm.
The members that was against the spirit. Well, Colossians 3 expounds on those members. It explains what those members are. It says, Colossians 3:5, mortify therefore your members which are upon the earth, fornication, which is adultery, uncleanness, inordinate affection.
And it's spiritual because this goes into keeping the law.
Yeah.
For you Christians that say that the law done away with, but the word mortify means to put to death or to kill. So you basically killing the flesh. Go ahead, bro.
All right. Evil concupiscences, which concupiscences go back to the concupence. The key element is Cupid.
We go back like Cupid.
Cupid, and it's basically like your lust.
Yep.
And because it's using these words because that was the nature of Rome, like you were going into.
And those strong sexual desires.
Those strong sexual desires,
Like
man.
you said, it's men. That have been so turned out in Babylon having threesomes. They can't even have sex with one woman anymore.
They gotta have a threesome.
They gotta have a threesome. That's what's it?
Inordinate affection.
Yep, the concupence.
Yeah, you got inordinate affection, evil concupiscences, inordinate affection. That goes basically to like not ordinary.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you got all these weird fetishes and shit you gotta play out.
It's unnatural.
It's unnatural, man. All right. Let me get back to it. It says evil concupiscences and covetousness. That's American. That's consumerism.
Uh-huh.
All right. Covetousness, which is idolatry, for which things take the wrath of Yahweh cometh on the children of disobedience. It came on the children of disobedience during the time of Noah, or during the time of Sodom and Gomorrah. I'm missing another one, but soon it's about to be America.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Jake got heavily immersed in this, going back to the time of the Greeks. Up until Rome, and now Rome came back. So now you deeply immersed in it. But this is the culture that we're coming out of, man.
Hey, and that's a heavy temptation that the elect, the brothers who are the elect, the brothers that overcome this beast. That's an honorable thing. That's why it says in Second Ezra they're gonna receive palms.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
There's a victory, and that's a heavy victory over the flesh.
Yep.
I got 1 John chapter 5, verse 19. It says that we know that we are of the Most High, and that the whole world lieth in wickedness.
Hey man, that was this guy. Preacher Cott sent me a video. I think he was a rapper. He wasn't hitting the truth. He was one of those, I guess, a truth seeker. He was like, look, man, the way the world is not natural. He was like, the whole world is under a spell. He was like, everything you see has a demonic vibration. He was going to, I think, different logos and signs. He was like, the whole world is under a demonic spell, man. All right? Because Esau's in rulership. And, you can go on in more detail. And that spell is basically what you want to call it, Christianity, democracy, westernization. You didn't took Greek culture and Roman culture and put it on crack, man. Is there more to that?
That was it on that.
I'm gonna bring out a quick scripture right quick. This is Sirach 18:30. All right, go not after thy lust, but refrain thyself from thy appetites.
So, like you say, the flesh will never turn off. All right, the flesh don't care about your bank account.
Yep.
Flesh don't care about what bills need to be paid. The flesh is gonna go.
And if you stuck on no law, no sin, that means you're not in a state of growing.
No.
If you at the strip club, it's like, well, it's not a sin,
Yeah.
but you finna miss out on your rent. You finna be behind on rent because you're at the
Yeah.
strip club. All right, and that means you're not growing in the spirit.
Yep.
You know.
Especially you at the spot with the fringes on.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, you like you say, Jake is trying to combine, because you really go into the Sadducees, they had that same spirit. The Sadducees was really like modernized. They knew the law, but they were modernized. They was all into the upper echelon of the Roman Empire when you study the Sadducees, man.
And it's heavy because they ain't believe in anything. The Sadducees, they ain't believe in the resurrection. Like, they ain't believe in the spirit. Like, man, what? Like, what?
No, you got it.
Like, man, what do you believe in?
Yeah, because they were so tapped into the flesh that the spirituality was just, drained from them, man.
And and it's truth. When you're able to overcome certain weaknesses, overcome certain vices that you got, there's a great reward in the spirit.
Yep.
That's the balance of your how about Shema Shai. When you are able to go on a fast or a detox or a cleanse and offer up that spiritual sacrifice, the Most High starts showing you things, man.
I got it. You want to read?
Yep.
All right, now this is dealing with the Sadducees. It says, although Pharisees and Sadducees, now this is from the Nelson Study Bible that I have. They got a section called Between the Testaments, and it breaks down, from Alexander, all the way into the Persians, all the way into, how the Sadducees and Pharisees got started, which they was a spinoff of the Maccabean revolt. All right, so when you go into the Sadducees, it says, although Pharisees and Sadducees are often frequently denounced together in the New Testament, they have little in common except their antagonism to Yahushua. The Sadducees were the party of the Jerusalem aristocracy and the high priesthood. They had made their peace with the political rulers and had attained possessions of wealth and influence. Temple administration and ritual were their specific responsibilities. The Sadducees held themselves aloof from the masses and were unpopular with them. The Pharisees' attempts at applying the law to new situations were rejected by the Sadducees, who restricted their concept of authority to the Torah or Mosaic law. They did not believe in resurrection, spirits, or angels. Their faith was largely a series of negations, with the result that they left no positive religious or political system. While the Pharisees welcomed proselytes, the Sadducees' party was closed. None but members of the high priestly and aristocratic families of Jerusalem could become members.
Wow, to be born into it.
Yeah.
That's why Yahushua came on the ass.
It was like a secret society.
Mm-hmm.
With the Sadducees, like one of them, a fraternity or something.
Kool-Aid type shit.
Yep.
And it's crazy because, like I said, they have anything in common with the Pharisees, but to be against the Lord. That's how these other groups are when it comes to Great Millstone.
Yeah.
Like, they have nothing in common doctrine-wise,
but to be against Great Millstone.
but to link up against Great Millstone.
It don't logically make sense.
We got something.
All right, come on.
All right. This is Second Esdras. Then I'm gonna get the other one in Esdras. Second Esdras, chapter 7, and verse 57. You about to get it?
Nah, you got it, bro. I don't think about it.
Then answered he me and said, "This is the condition of the battle, which man that is born upon the earth shall fight."
That's that flesh.
Yep.
Hey, like you say, this is that condition that we in the flesh that's contrary, all right, to righteousness, man.
Hey, man, when you tap into it, you make want to cry, man. You realize you're inside of this battle and you've been chosen to fight, and part of that fight is within you.
Yep. Hey, you got that movie, and it ain't all that, but it's some good points in it. I think that new Mortal Kombat is really cheesy, but they just show you how a lot of people that was born with that mark on them, it showed that they was gonna be able to fight in the Mortal Kombat, but in the spirit, like, we got the mark, that knowledge.
It's predestined.
And say in verse 58, that if he be overcome, he shall suffer as thou hast said.
Yep.
But if he get the victory, he shall receive the thing that I say.
Hey, because if he be overcome by what? The flesh. He
Mhm.
or she. Because if you're overcome the flesh, then you're outside of the hedge and you're open up to the torments that's coming with this judgment.
And that's what Satan want.
Yep.
Like the reason why we getting all this resistance, Satan want us to do some bullshit that we can't come back from, so we don't have that covering during Jacob's trouble, man. You know? You see a lot of guys out there, we don't need to mention names, but they looking bad. And they don't got the heads that we got, you know. But I'm gonna read it again. That if he be overcome, he shall suffer as thou hast said. But if he get the victory, he shall receive the thing that I say.
Mm-hmm.
For this is the life whereof Moses spake unto the people while he lived, saying, choose thee life.
Because Moses saw the end.
Yep.
He saw the end result. So they went over their head when he said that, but Moses saw it, man. It tells you that in 2nd Ezra, the 14th chapter. Moses saw the end, man. All right?
Because see, one thing about it, within Babylon, they didn't, when they came with the feminist movement, back in the 60s, they didn't show the end game 2021 where you gonna die alone, where you wasn't even gonna have enough money to retire, So they didn't show the end game. You didn't know you were choosing death. All right, niggas didn't know they were choosing death with their thug culture.
Because that's living out. That's an embodiment of living after the flesh. Nigga culture, the feminist movement. That's tasted good to women. That fruit tasted good to women. I've heard older women say personally that they regret that they put their career before marriage at a particular age, man. But that feminist movement tasted good to the flesh. It was good to the sight. What does it say in Genesis? It was good to the eyes.
Yep.
She seen it was good for fruit.
Yep. Because
it felt good that moment, man. Just like anything when you please your flesh, hey, because you can be looking at something for hours, or you finally meet up with something, but then once you please the flesh, you be like, why I'm here?
Yep.
I wasted all that damn time for that.
Can't even look at them.
Can't
even look at them. And the nature of the flesh.
It's deceptive.
It's deceptive, man. It's a demon. It's a straight up demon.
It's deceptive.
Hey, but just to throw it out there, because some brothers into it, some not, man. Mess with nature. If you battling certain things in the flesh and you find yourself in prison to certain weaknesses, man. One thing is very restorative is having water or dealing with plants. Brother said, when you bring nature inside of your abode, hey, that's good for your spirit, man. Because we come from earth too, so it's good to have things from the earth inside of your dwelling place, man. Now we know that's not for every brother, but I'm gonna throw it out there,
Your smells. Hey, that's another thing, like the flesh, detaches you, from the earth, man. Like we forgot how enjoyable just the earth was, man.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to live this, this prime time big city, downtown Friday night, Saturday night lifestyle, but there's an enjoyment that comes from the earth, man. There's an enjoyment that comes from the natural use of a woman within her nature, man. Way past sex, man. Just the uses that she has around the household, man.
And that's an enjoyment to have a woman that you get along with.
Oh man, she go a long way.
Yeah, if you got a woman, who cares how she looks? In Babylon, if you got a woman like she's cool, and most I created connections and chemistry, man. And that's an enjoyment instead of you thirsting after these perfect looking whores on the internet. No, like the most I get you an everyday woman that's cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
them whores on the internet, they're empty.
Yep. They're superficial.
They have nothing to add, man.
And they're direct enemies.
Yep.
Their goal is to, try to destroy you. You just, another come up.
Hey, like we were talking about this word earlier. They really want your dignity.
Yep.
Because the moment you give her your attention, the moment you pursue her, you done lost your self-worth as a man.
Yep.
Eat and drink.
The moment that you gave her more energy than she gave you without reciprocate, all right,
Oh yeah.
then you gave up your dignity.
Yeah.
See, like something that Apostle Brian used to go into a lot is your dignity, man. You gotta keep your self-worth when you're dealing in the world, man. But the word dignity, hey, go back to self-respect. The dignity goes back to self-respect. It goes back to poise. And if you look at the word poise, it goes back to self-control, man. Controlling your impulses, man. All right, which really goes back to a noble state of mind. All right, so part of being noble or royal is someone who has self-control.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to overcome Babylon to really embrace being princess of Yahweh Shemel Shai. Those holy noble seed on the planet Earth, man. You know? This is why the scripture says about wine in 1 Ezra 4th chapter that wine makes the king and the fatherless child alike. Why did it say a fatherless child? Because a fatherless child generally lacks discipline. So when you're drunk off wine per se, as a king, you act just like a bastard child, undisciplined. So in Babylon, we're kings, all right, but we can't be drunk off literal wine or the wine of Babylon, all right, because it turns you into a little peasant, man. When you're a slave to your flesh, nobody respects you, even in the streets. Nobody respects a drug fiend because they know how no matter how bad they treat that drug fiend gonna come back. Same thing with the lady in the red dress, Eve, man. She not gonna respect you because she know no matter how many times she don't pick up, you gonna call her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you're a fiend, man.
And dealing with these spirits, these unseen forces that's attacking us, they looking at us like we're an easy kill.
Yep.
Like, and we don't want that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need to be looking at this thing in front of us. Like, we got this. And it's hard. You know what I'm saying? But hey, you don't know the counsel in the heavens concerning us. Where these demons basically accusing us to the Most High. Like, shit, I have them out in no time. Like, hey, Lord, I got this.
Oh, he light work.
And those demons live behind. You know, you might have a cockroach that live in certain spots in your house.
Yeah.
You might even have rats. There's certain spots, certain little heated spots where like a rat might live. All right, those demons, they live behind your vices.
That's a hot zone.
Your vices is a hot zone for demons, man. You know? You got it, brother.
This is on Proverbs 23 and
People that know
6. It says, "Eat thou not the bread of him that have an evil eye. Neither desire thou his dainty meats."
Mm-hmm. Hey, that's the philosophies that are like just going to the feminist movement.
Mm-hmm. And then with dainty meats, you know, because Eve was getting office jobs and you know she had her own money. Because see,
Yep.
like I said, that when she says independent, it don't mean that she's an independent entity. She's just independent from her husband.
Right, that's it.
Because
Israelite
her
husband.
husband controlled the cash flow, you know. So her decision making, the decision was being made, you know, by the breadwinner. But now she, you know, Esau propped up in these jobs. He gave her these little dainties, these little careers. So now you don't have to be subjugated to a man because you can, you know, you have the enough slave money to provide for yourself now, man. You know, even with nigga culture, you ate at Esau dainties, man. Hey, because what did Esau push? Because all you as a young Jake, you think that you can go from a $5 crack rock to an empire, man. That's what they had young. They were like a dainty. You see?
That's why they set up the rappers.
Yeah, I don't need school. I don't need nothing. I can just sell. I can sell drugs. I can rap or whatever, you know, and I can partake in a life, you know, a lifestyle. All right.
Hey, and on two things, for Eve and the so-called black man, they overlooked the same. They overlooked the two things: everyday living.
Yep.
Eve overlooked the everyday man, and Jake overlooked the everyday career choice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Jake, he skipped over being a carpenter, plumbing, electrician, and went straight to the drug career.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
All right. It says, verse 7, it says, "For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. Eat and drink, saith he to thee, but his heart is not with thee."
Yeah, because the serpent had ulterior motives. It was about the destruction of our people, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's another reason why we got to overcome the flesh, because ultimately that's overcoming this serpent. Like There's nothing he can do to us if we overcome the flesh.
Because really, it was going back to the time of Egypt. It was the Israelite man. It was the Hebrew man. See, Esau shot at Eve to get to us. Shoot us the pun. You know, because going back to the garden. All right, the serpent was talking to Eve to overthrow Adam. You know, so even now, all right, eat all that feminine stuff and all that, man. That's to keep you out of any type of power, man. That's all it is, to keep you out of any position of power, man. Because everybody knows the fastest way to own and having wealth is home ownership. But it's hard to have home ownership as a single parent. All right? It's hard to have home any type of wealth or build anything if you're one person.
Yeah, that individualism really destroyed our people.
It destroyed group economics. Look how fast Issachar moved. They are our people, but they didn't get broken down by the feminist movement like we did, you know. But they move, and we're probably more known for having PhDs and all the other bullshit. But they know how to move as a unit.
Yeah, ain't no unity.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, Southern Kingdom got that. And for you, Jace, talking about Northern Canaanite Israelites, you got to understand that, you know, well, for you brothers that can get it, to hell with these cats. But this thing, when you look at the curses, different curses hit, you know, particular tribes, man. Mm-hmm. That's not saying that they not our people, you know. When that's another thing, because Elder Yashima went into it, and a few other brothers went into it, dealing with how you can't be caught up into the flesh, you know, as far as the outward appearance of what you see. Because y'all arguments y'all have talking about they not our people, that goes back to the flesh. You know, what you see on the outward appearance, man. You know, this thing, it's all spiritual, you know?
That's right.
You got it, bro.
And we can go on and
start. I got the one open Ezra 2.
God.
Is anybody something?
Oh yeah, the Revelation. Yeah. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 15. All right, verse 2. It says, "And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of the Most High."
Yep.
Hey, because it's gonna be the even taking the jab, like I said, it's a fleshly decision. So taking the chip, the mark of the beast is gonna be based on the flesh, because you're gonna want to get back to what? Pleasing your flesh, man. You see?
And convenience is pleasing the flesh too.
Yep, that convenience. You see, and that's why, like you said, that's a part of overcoming this beast, is overcoming the flesh, because the flesh is attached, to this beast, and that's why he wants to put that chip in you. Yep. You know, that's why he wants to redo your DNA.
Yeah,
you know,
because these corruptible bodies, they a thing of the earth, man. But see, we got the ultimate glory coming. We're about to be changed, man. So now we got the text, like it says in what's that? Is Isaiah 10 and 20?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we should no more stay upon him that smote us.
Yep.
Now that starts now, because you're not all of a sudden, hey, when the economy crashed, they're gonna implement the chip. You're not all of a sudden just gonna detach, you know, on site. You gotta start now, man.
It starts in your mind.
Yep.
Hey, like I say, mindset. You know, because like brothers is on the earth, like brothers is really becoming their own physician through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai. You know, brothers, you know, they're going to Esau and his medicines and over-the-counter medicine. No, brother, it's a herb. You know, brothers tapping into the herb.
No, I'm sorry. They stand on your how about Shema Shai, man.
That's it. That's what it go back to.
You know. And you get most of your food from the earth. All that grass-fed stuff is basically you stand on your how about Shema Shai. We get it exactly how the Most High created it to be, without the middleman Esau, man. All right, and that takes faith to get sick and use herbs, man. That takes discipline to have a craving for Esau's park tarts and sweets. You just go and buy some fucking fruit, man. But that's staying on your how about Shema Shai, you know. And we're not saying brothers don't eat your, you know. That's a path that you gotta take, man. You know, but that's what that means. Hey, it's staying on him, man.
Yeah, that raw diet.
Yep.
You know, because like I say, that's really you depending on Yahweh Shema Shai. You know, to replenish you, man.
Hey, try going 30 days without eating processed sugar. Try going 30 days eating a whole food diet, meaning you eat something with no processed anything. All right, you're gonna find out how much Babylon has on you, man. How that hold that Babylon has on you. What did it say in the movie Matrix? The Matrix has you, Neo. try going 30 days without looking at women on the internet. Like I said, go 30 days without eating processed food, man.
And that's a real detox.
Yep.
Everything you just named.
And check those and monitor those withdrawal symptoms you have. You gonna have withdrawal symptoms, man.
Sweating.
You like, God damn, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know? The Matrix has you, Neo.
Hey, this is beautiful, but
Yeah.
like you said, this battle we got in the flesh, that's proof the Lord is a man of war, man.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, God.
and he wants us to overcome it.
Triumph. A victory.
Victory.
You know?
How Shot could have been popping it wrong.
Yep.
You know, he could have been on.
Turning water into wine.
Yeah, he could have been on.
You know?
You the man.
You the man. It wrong?
You ain't heard about your guy, your mans. You know.
Yep.
Well, no, man. He stuck. All right, he dealt, you know, with the load. He made that sacrifice, man, because he knew he was gonna, you know, get everything, you know, in this time. You know, why he told the disciple, look, I'm not gonna drink wine till I drink it new with you in the kingdom. Look how much discipline, you know. Yeah, so I ain't gonna drink nothing till I drink it with you in the kingdom. You know, and that's when we gonna be good, man. You know, you got it, bro.
2nd Ezra chapter 2, verse 44. So I asked the angel and said, Sir, what are these? He answered and said unto
Hey,
me,
what are these? Hey, these brothers in these different camps throughout the planet Earth.
Yep.
What are these? You know? Go ahead.
These be they. He answered and said unto me, These be they that have put off the mortal clothing.
And it starts on a physical sense. You know, we went into that mortal nature. All right, Colossians 3. All right, fornication, evil concupiscences, inordinate affection, you know, which is idolatry. Those are just examples.
And mortal means to die.
Mortal means to die. All right?
We're dying, man.
We're living to die. You know?
These be they that have put off the mortal clothing and put on the immortal.
Because we're going to ultimately get those new bodies. All right, but it starts with conquering this flesh, man. All right?
And have confessed the name of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. Now are they crowned and receive palms.
Yep. In the end, we will be in a position of worth, man. But hey, and part of putting off that flesh too is being in these lowly positions in Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a form of discipline.
Like you always say, delayed gratification.
Yeah, delayed gratification.
Because you know, naturally, Jake want to be embraced.
Yep.
You want to be loved. You know, you don't want to be looked over.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's by the average Israelite man or our women, like that shit naturally hurts, man. Like we ain't supposed to, but
Get
you know,
rejected,
yeah. You got it, bro.
No, I'm just saying, just getting rejected by society.
Yeah, that's a curse.
Yeah.
You know,
But we're gonna have an eternal, you know, to enjoy things in righteousness, man.
that's right.
You know, like you said in your video, all right, our forefather they have hoes.
Yeah.
They had wives with a purpose. You see, and we're gonna get those things back in righteousness, man. You see, the desire, like I say, the flesh has our desire so corrupted, you know, that the things that we desire really serve no purpose. Like you say, a lot of the food that we desire, you know, that the flesh desire serves no purpose. A lot of women that the flesh desire serve no purpose, man. The lifestyle that the flesh desire are like, what is a rapper? Like if you, and to show you that something is vain, if you remove all of it off the planet Earth, what would the Earth miss? Like if you remove every rapper, if you remove every strip club off the Earth, what would the Earth miss?
Yep.
Like how would the Earth stop functioning?
Yeah.
You know?
Or just, you know, just some land base to add on to what you're saying. If we had to leave America and get on some property, land,
Mm-hmm.
how would a rapper help us build?
Yeah.
How would Eve on what fans only help us build?
Yeah.
Then you see the purpose of people.
Yeah.
You know? That's why if you had an idle son, you stoned to death.
And you had no purpose.
Right.
You know?
That's why the Lord said, "Let the multitude perish; those born in vain."
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, hey, this thing we a part of is huge, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, y'all had any more closing?
Right, yeah.
Hey, you know, with that, we hope your brothers are edified. You know, to overcome Babylon is to overcome the flesh. But once again, we want to give out honor and glory to
Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua by Hashem Kakudash.
Double honors once again to our apostles of Great Millstone. Well, peace and blessed to the house of David the elect. Abba,
Abba,
Kwame Ashala.
Kwame Ashala. Shalom.